Star Trek 2. The Wrath of Khan story only happens because Starfleet makes a big mistake. When fans think of Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, they remember Ricardo Montalban's chilling performance as the vengeful Khan Noonien Singh, the emotional death of Spock, and the thrilling balance between character drama and naval-style space combat. It's a masterpiece that saved Star Trek as a franchise after the lukewarm reception of the motion picture. But beneath the tactical duels and Shakespearean dialogue lies a darker truth. The Wrath of Khan only happens because of a massive blunder by Starfleet. This isn't just about one admiral overlooking a detail or a careless officer pressing the wrong button. It's a chain reaction of institutional oversight, complacency, and moral blindness that lets one of the galaxy's most dangerous tyrants slip through the cracks. The film's entire story, the rise of Khan's revenge, the threat of the Genesis device, and Spock's tragic sacrifice, stems from one catastrophic failure of Starfleet's duty. Let's dive into how The Wrath of Khan exposes Starfleet's biggest mistake, one that forever changed the course of the Federation's history. Ceti Alpha V, The Forgotten Hell. The story of Starfleet's failure begins in the original series episode, Space Seed. In that episode, Captain Kirk discovers the SS Botany Bay, a ship carrying genetically engineered superhumans led by Khan Noonien Singh, former tyrants from Earth's eugenics wars. Instead of imprisoning them or bringing them to justice, Kirk chooses to maroon Khan and his followers on the relatively hospitable world of Ceti Alpha V. His reasoning? It gives them a chance to build a new life, free from the laws of the Federation, as a sort of moral experiment in redemption. At first glance, it seems like a humane choice, Kirk's signature blend of mercy and pragmatism. But the Federation's follow-up, or lack thereof, transforms this decision into a monumental failure. Only 6 months after Khan's exile, the neighboring planet, Ceti Alpha 6, exploded. The cataclysm shifted the orbit of Ceti Alpha V, transforming it from a lush world into a toxic wasteland. The planet's surface was scorched, the atmosphere poisoned, and nearly all of Khan's people died. And Starfleet never noticed. That's the heart of the tragedy. Starfleet completely forgot about Ceti Alpha V. No monitoring, no follow-up missions, no record updates. For 15 years, no one realized that an entire planetary system had changed. When the USS Reliant arrives to survey planets for the Genesis experiment, they don't even realize that Ceti Alpha 6, the planet that exploded, is gone. Instead, they mistakenly identify Ceti Alpha V as its neighbor. This isn't just bad luck, it's bureaucratic negligence on an interstellar scale. The Reliant's fatal error: when Commander Chekhov and Captain Terrell arrive on Ceti Alpha V, they believe they are checking a lifeless planet. Their mission is to find an uninhabited world suitable for the Genesis device, a revolutionary technology designed to create life from lifelessness. It's supposed to be safe and controlled, a scientific miracle. But the Reliance crew never verifies their planetary data thoroughly enough to realize the system's configuration has changed. How could Starfleet allow such a simple, verifiable detail to slip by? Where are the long-range scans, the updated star charts, the automated system alerts? Khan's shocking reappearance, his capture of the Reliant, the hijacking of its crew, and his reignited vendetta against Admiral Kirk all flow from this single miscalculation. Starfleet's failure to maintain accurate records and conduct due diligence gives Khan the opportunity to escape. And once he's free, his revenge burns across the quadrant. Ironically, it's one of Starfleet's best and brightest, Chekhov, who directly stumbles into this mistake. The horror on his face when Khan recognizes him, I never forget a face, is the moment Starfleet's complacency comes crashing down. The institutional blind spot, Starfleet's moral arrogance. The Wrath of Khan doesn't frame Starfleet's error as simple incompetence. The real issue runs deeper: arrogance. Starfleet's scientific optimism and bureaucratic confidence blind it to the possibility of failure. The Federation believes its systems are perfect, its data reliable, its officers infallible. After all, who would question the great Starfleet's ability to track a simple planetary change? This arrogance mirrors the moral blind spot that led to Khan's exile in the first place. Kirk believed he was being merciful, but he also assumed his decision would never come back to haunt anyone. Starfleet signed off without a second thought, treating a dangerous human experiment as a closed case. The institutional attitude, we are the good guys, therefore our choices are right, is precisely what allows this oversight to fester. That theme echoes throughout the movie. Kirk, now an admiral struggling with middle age and regret, represents the same system that once cast Khan aside and forgot him. His own complacency mirrors Starfleet's. When Spock tells him, "You are a starship captain. You belong in that chair," it's a wake-up call, not just for Kirk, but for the entire Federation's tendency to rest on its laurels. Starfleet's hubris created the perfect storm for Khan's revenge. The Genesis Project, another dangerous shortcut. While Starfleet's neglect of Khan sets the stage for the film, its willingness to play God through the Genesis device deepens the theme of institutional recklessness. The Genesis Project, developed by Dr. Carol Marcus and her son David, is a terraforming technology that can create life from lifelessness. On paper, it's the Federation's greatest scientific breakthrough, but as David later admits, it's also an incredibly dangerous weapon, capable of destroying existing ecosystems and rewriting entire worlds in an instant. Starfleet's interest in Genesis reflects the same arrogance that led it to forget about Ceti Alpha V. It's the belief that science, technology, and moral superiority make them immune to consequences. Khan doesn't invent the idea of revenge. He simply exposes the Federation's contradictions. When he steals the Genesis device, he doesn't just threaten lives, he turns Starfleet's own hubris against it. The weapon of creation becomes a symbol of potential annihilation. It's a poetic echo of Starfleet's first mistake, giving a dangerous man the tools of destruction through neglect and pride. Kirk's reckoning. Personal responsibility meets institutional failure. For all of the wrath of Khan's epic scope, its emotional power lies in personal accountability. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy each confront different aspects of Starfleet's failure and their own. Kirk faces the past he ignored. His decision to leave Khan on Ceti Alpha V, to move on without looking back, mirrors his avoidance of aging, death, and responsibility. When he learns what became of Khan's world, his guilt is palpable. "I never bothered to check on him," he admits. That line is more than personal, it's institutional confession. Kirk is Starfleet in microcosm. Noble intentions, blind arrogance, and the fallout of ignoring the consequences. Spock, by contrast, represents the Federation's higher ideal, logic, self-sacrifice, and responsibility. His decision to sacrifice himself at the film's end is the ultimate act of taking responsibility for the mistakes of the system. "The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few," he says, accepting the moral debt that Starfleet as an institution refused to pay. McCoy, ever the moral conscience, sums it up best through his disgust at Starfleet's obsession with Genesis. Scientists have always been pawns of the military. His cynicism isn't misplaced. Starfleet's scientific curiosity and moral ambition often intertwine dangerously. The Wrath of Khan uses this tension to highlight that good intentions, without humility and oversight, can lead to disaster. The lesson Starfleet had to learn the hard way.